What's up, legends, and welcome to a brand new live stream. Today's topic is going to be happy birthday cards. So now imagine you're invited to a friend's birthday and you want to surprise them and just stand out from everyone else. Well, bringing home a personalized birthday card is the way to go. That's how you will impress anyone, and I'm going to show you 10 different ways on how to do that so you can get started. So let's get started with the very first one. I just need to get set here on this side and get all the cameras rolling. So 10 ways to draw a happy birthday card presented by me. My name is Stefan Kunz and I'm a hand lettering artist from Zurich, and I'm going to be showing you this in 10 different ways. So let's have a look at the first way, which is going to be number one, the simple card. So here is the simple card, the simple one, and we're just going to take up very simple things that you hopefully have at home, and we're going to start drawing them out by hand. Now, I have a pencil here, and I usually will start to pencil everything in at first and in a light way. So you can imagine that you will have a line here with happy and then birthday just down below. And so I'm going to draw in these letters here very softly and spaced out, like not equally, and even like make them a little bit bouncy. Like don't have them straight, move them around a tiny little bit, because it's kind of like happy, it's fun. And so the next line is going to be here, setting up two straight lines, and then with a bouncy style is to draw out birthday. So one, I'll start here with a more brush style lettering, and then kind of go in with the I, the R, the T, the H, and always with the second stroke downwards, you will go lower than this sign here, and you will go up again, and then lower down again. So that's how you create this beautiful bouncy style. And then you can go higher, and then just move that around. Don't forget to cross the T in here. And as soon as you've got your sketch ready, so that's kind of lightly, you are going to pick up a brush pen. So there are a lot of different brush pens out there. You can use any you want. Make sure that the paper here that is still rough, so it will maybe scratch off your pens a little bit. Now I'm gonna be using here this light red, and I'm gonna press down hard on these strokes, lightly on the lines, slower on this one. Upstroke, you're gonna keep that one thin. Downstroke, make that one thick. Again, downstroke thick, really well pressed. And then here you can even press a little bit as well. Or you can make all of these like short, and then here and add some more. But you can also just make them all a little bit thicker, which is what I actually like to do. So here on this one, on the simple one, keep it simple. Just draw it in. Here, make sure that all of your strokes kind of are like the same length. Again, you can change the size of those letters as well if you want to. It looks really cool. And so here we're just adding one more touch. So here we got the happy down, and now birthday. So this is where you want to be a little bit more careful. So one way of doing it is doing the full calligraphy way. So basically scanning down, then slightly up. And so I'm just pressing lightly here, and then going up here, going down here, changing actually a little bit of what I had drawn beforehand, which is totally fine. I'm improvising on the go, changing things that I thought I liked, but realizing like, no, it might look cooler this way. And so just getting all the lines down, and we're adding the thickness later on. So this is why we're just drawing it out here, because this here, anyone can do. Now you add the weight, the contrast. So all the lines that went down, so we're starting at the top here, this one went down, and so I'm applying all this pressure, and then it would go up again. So here, just make sure that your palm doesn't go on top. So it would go up, and then here, pressure. So I'm just adding this pressure, and then again on this stroke as well here. And then here I can go in closer and just tidy that up a little bit. Here on the eye, adding pressure. Here I can add the dots on the I here as well. Here on the R, pressure. So you can see you can really press down, use all the thickness of your brush. So depending on the big brush, you might want to be a little bit lighter. But here with these ones that I'm using right now, I want to apply all the pressure that I can and then really get it down. So this one is a simple one that you can do and create, and a lot of different ones that we'll create together. But we're starting off here, and this one is absolutely beautiful. I love how it turned out. And so here, just applying a little bit more pressure, because you can see it just added some more. Now, once you're done with that, that looks already really cool. I want to add a little bit of confettis maybe flying around. You can use a different color for that. So for example, use more of a salmon pink or something that you could use anywhere else. So I'm just adding some confettis around, pressing down. That will make it a little bit more festive, which is also really cool. And what you want to do is really to spread them out all over. Maybe get some darker reds here as well. Place them at different points. They don't have to have the same shape, but that really helps make it a little bit festive. So smaller ones as well, just because it's fun. And you can see I smudged maybe some pieces, so be careful when doing that. So just putting it all together. And here we go. We have our very first card. This is number 1. And of course, here we get to have our very first birthday card, which is going to be used later on. So now let's go on to the next one, which is actually very similar, but also great. The bouncy lettering card. So we're going to use another white card, and we're just going to switch around those cards again. So here we go. We got the card on top, and we're going to do a bouncy lettering style. So that's same style, same principle. Then we did the birthday. We're just going to change out the happy first. So I'm just going to start on the top part with the happy. So just going with an H. And then going here with the A, P. And so there are different ways you can do the P. And what you want to make sure is that it's centered and it's nice in here. So I can even change a little bit up here. And then again, same thing as we did before with the birthday. Switching things around. And there we go. So now I just want to erase parts of the H that I kind of miss here, because it's going to be harder to erase those lines at the end. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the bright red again. So no big changes here. And you can go through the same thing, or you can really apply that stroke thickness as you go if you feel more confident with those skills. And then press on really nicely. And then finally here, go in, do the birthday. Here I'm going to use really the space that I get. Here maybe go even higher up. And now here is where we go and get more interesting, is we can actually start to add some gradients. So a great way to add some gradients is by going in, applying some darker colors at the bottom of all the letters. And so that's also a great way to really like add a little bit more to your lettering. And as you go, you'll just add some more of that. You can do that the same way on the top as you do on the bottom. Right now, I'm just applying that to the bottom. And as you finish all of this, we're creating the gradient to help sell that even better. And to do that gradient, what you can do, I'm actually just going to finish this line here, is you're going to pick back up your bright red color that you had before, and you're going to add some ink onto the red, and then you will use that ink here to dissolve that. Just add here a little touch. This will kind of start to mix, and as it fades away, you can go back here and then add some more, and you'll see it will fade in really nicely to the rest of your lettering, creating a beautiful blend between the dark red, this Bordeaux red that you have in your other hand, and this bright red that you can use here. You can do that again with other colors as well. You can also just go in and use those different pens. You can turn that around. Try it out on a different piece of paper before doing it on the actual piece of paper. But this way, you can really create these absolutely gorgeous, beautiful pens. And again, watch out for the smudging right here. This is something that will stay on your piece of paper unless you find a way to make that beautiful. And here is where I usually would start to add some decorative elements. For example, like these beautiful stars. Those are fun to add in, just because those give you a little spark here and there. You can also add some hearts, which is more like a Valentine card thing, or I don't know. There are a lot of different cards that you can create and use and create those awesome moments. And then some dots here and there just to create that is really fun. And again, those spaces in between is where you want to make sure to have all of those beautiful lettering designs done. So how about this? I feel like this looks a lot like fun. And so here we have happy birthday one way and happy birthday another way. So we already have two cards. The next session that we have, the next card that we have is the balloon one. So how does the balloon one work? Well, we're going to go ahead and use a lot more colors. And so for this one, I am going to use a lot more different colors. And I'm just trying to get my pencil out of the way that I have here on the side. So here I have a whole set of a lot of different highlighters. And so these highlighters are a little bit special because they're all pastel colored highlighters, which are awesome. And so because there are balloons, it's going to be a lot more fun. So how do you start with balloons? Well, one, I would actually need to first wash off my hand here. So I'm using a spray and not trying to spray that in me. Hopefully that will actually clean it. Does clean a little bit? Yes, it does clean a tiny little bit off. So that looks good and hopefully is now safe to use. All right, we have the card, and the idea of the balloon lettering is to actually draw balloon-like letters. The way you draw balloon-like letters, well, you can either start by using a pencil and then drawing those letters and inflate them. So for example, if I again write happy, and I'll place them everywhere in this picture, different shapes, different sizes. So that will make it look more balloonish. And so you place them randomly in your picture like this. Maybe even have like a larger one here, over there. And so what I will do now is I will actually start to draw them out. So one way is you draw out the outline first, and I kind of like to make them round, so just keep on drawing those lines, and then you fill them out with your pastel color. and that will look a little bit more like this. And since balloons usually are inflated, like especially when they're using helium, then it's fun to do them this way. Changing colors, again, you can mix and match. You can use some bright ones, some darker ones. I'm just using here what I have. Those pastel colors are actually really nice. So here's the A, again, inflated on the top. You don't necessarily want to use pencil sketch first because you can still see that right now. We'll mask it off later on. Right now it's more important to see what it's creating. And so right now, like, I'm drawing all these letters with the rounded sides, trying to keep them fluffy like balloons. And then you can also add kind of like these little balloon ends, which is also kind of like what sells the balloon. And so here I'm just adding to the top to make it even bigger. And as you can see, keeping it colorful is also very fun. So that is great for children, something that a lot of children probably will like and enjoy. And we're going up the ladder as well in age. So depending on who you're giving this to, maybe your grandma, maybe someone from your family, maybe a loved one, who knows? There's so many occasions that you can create and send a greeting card to on the birthday. And as always, when you see a handmade card, nothing beats that. I don't feel that really anything beats a handmade card, especially when it's done with love and just made beautifully. So I think yellow is a little bit too bright for the first letter. So I'm just going back here to the orange because I like that color at first. And so I'm using this sign of a B and then just making sure that there are two holes inside and small ones. And again, here, rounding that off a little bit. So you can always add to it. You can always add to your lines, make them thicker, thinner, and then just adding all of that in. Now the eye, we can do the eye here in pastel yellow. It's a little bit bright, I gotta say. But I love them a lot more than any one of these super, I don't know if you've ever used like these neon colors. Like those are very, very bright to use. But this here is a lot of fun. And we're gonna use these one more time later on. But first, let's finish off this card. Here we have a little bit weird green, pastel green. And let's see. Oh yeah, and we forgot all of these little ends of the balloons. Let's see, this one I think is the same. And so it's getting a little bit tight. That's why we drew in first some letters beforehand, but again, didn't help us that much apparently. So here adding these ends in. Just so it doesn't really show that much. Let's see if we can add in the end here with the Y. Just like that. And then finally the A that is missing in here, which is going to be used with this brighter pink. Now, once you've done that, you could leave it here, but I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to draw out the outlines of these balloons with a fine liner. And so drawing it out here, trying to stay on those lines as best as I can. And here is where you can really start to add some little illustrations. I can change those balloons a tiny little bit. Like, I don't know if you have those balloons in mind where they have like these lot of reflection inside, but I don't want to go too crazy on this one here. Again, keep it at simple. This one is like a fast card, colorful card, still very fun and happy. Like, it is very lively, so it's fun to see. And you want to just have a special card, easy to create, and done very fast. Like, I'm all for efficient drawing and creating awesome pieces. So here, this is actually even some fun, helps to even see the eye a little bit better. And another way to also sell that illusion of the like balloons kind of like floating in the air is to add some marks and kind of like moving lines. And let me show you what I mean by that. Once I finish the outline of the last letters, so what I want to say, like, yeah, the moving lines. So you could add like these little lines here that they're still moving here and bouncing off each other. Kind of gives you more of a fun illustrative style. And so on. You could also go in, take like a white marker or something like a white ball pen and add some like touches inside here, just to kind of like add these little reflections of the light on your letters, which also makes it look a lot more realistic. But again, not everyone will have those Posca pens or a white ball marker, so don't even worry about that. You can also just leave them out when you're drawing them in. That's also possible. It really depends on what you're doing. So always think of those things as well. And to even bring them out a little bit more, what you can do is just to draw in around these circles here. So that creates also this effect and highlights here these kind of like lines and so on. Probably saying and so on often enough, but I love how this is turning out. All right, happy birthday using all these highlighter boss markers, all pastel colors, and also another great fun way to do that. Now let's segment into the number 4, which is the ribbon lettering. So let me go on here. So the ribbon one, this is number 4, and we are going to use a black card this time. So let me just get the set differently and set it up quite all right so that we are ready to use. And I have a lot of markers just standing around here all this way, but I will get the set ready in just a second. And let's go. Okay, right here we have metallic markers and a black card. So black card, again, you could use, like, you can do the whole design with any cards you want. You don't have to use the black card to do this metallic card design, but you can draw it in any way you want to. So here we go. I have a pencil, and what I will do is I will actually create 2 lines. So 2 lines for every ribbon that's going around. And so that's going to be my happy. And it's going to be flowing. So when I say flowing, imagine that I'm doing this here. And I'm doing a bigger one at the bottom, which is going to be the happy and then the birthday. And then we're connecting these ends here. And so that's kind of like where it's going to go behind. Here it will be going behind there. And then we'll connect to this part below. So here, that's where it goes forth. And then here it will go out, connect these lines. This is what we're drawing here first onto the card with those pencils. So just a short one here and longer one below. And once you've done all of these, you have your lines. So sketching it out is always step 1. Make sure that you sketch out that on your card, because then you can just draw it in. So one thing is to use like the silver markers. Silver markers are great to do that. And so here I'm going to go in and now finish those lines. And so those are the outlines that we just drawn here that I'm drawing down here. And so here, and then finally, so these can connect all of these lines. Usually I would leave them out, but we will connect them here. Just like that. So you have this here on, and now I will draw out these letters. And again, a great way is to create like an outline, not to keep it too close in. So you don't want to draw these letters all this way, but you want to create like an inline and outline on top and on the side, just so you can draw them inside. So you want to leave that space in between. So here we go. I got happy. So it starts with an H. And I know that the P will be at the center here. So making sure, because it's a 5-letter word, that I start with that one too. And that way now it can just fit in beautifully this A. So you get a lot of practice by doing this often, but just plan it out. Don't be afraid of putting down some lines, making sure that it all stands out in, or stands in really well. Birthday, however, I feel like I'm gonna have a little bit more trouble with birthday. So that one has 8 letters. So making sure, well, that sounds about right. So just getting all of these inlines in here. Those will be the parts that we'll color in. And since I had a little bit more space towards the end, that's why I'm shifting everything a little bit further out, in case you are rewatching all of the lines drawn. And so for anyone who's watching, we're right now at number 4, just joining in. We're at number 4 of birthday cards. You can go back and watch like all the other ones. If you know somebody who has their birthday or soon or today, well, if it's your birthday today, well, happy birthday. So glad you're here in this live stream and joining in. And this is where you would color in the whole part. And getting it all done. So of course you can use like different materials to draw that in. You can use pencil if you don't have anything else. Like be creative with the tools that you have at your disposal, but create something that is fun, that is fast, Like, I don't want anyone to take too long on all these cards. But here is real time, how long these cards could potentially take to do. Eventually it could be also faster if you didn't have to think about stuff, move things around. But I feel like we're moving fast. So we haven't had yet 30 minutes and we've already almost done with card number 4. So less than 10 minutes per card is the way to go for birthday cards. So meaning if you're like on the run, you got a train to catch, you got to like take the car, drive out somewhere. Maybe you're in the back seat, passenger seat of your car, and you need to draw that on the go. That might be a little bit more difficult, but we could have a solution for that. Like stippling is a great solution if you're in a bumpy ride, because pretty much stippling, everybody will forgive like those dots placed at a wrong side. I did that on an airplane actually once, like going to Las Vegas for a conference. Didn't play in the casino, didn't play with the money, but here you see playing in or going to Las Vegas, I was on a plane, wanted to create like a cool sign. You can actually find this post on Instagram and see like this Las Vegas design that I did in my notebook, but I couldn't draw in the lines because I was afraid that during takeoff and even turbulence in the air, that could actually ruin my piece. So I decided on stippling, which was a creative solution. Also a solution that took me longer to make because you cannot finish drawing. Might have just been as fast if I kept on just drawing that. So depending on where you are, what you're doing, you see there are different solutions for everything. So here you got the backside of the ribbon. Now one easy way is to actually just draw out the lines here. So that creates like the backside of the ribbon well. But there are great other solutions as well, like stippling. And the idea here would be to keep them all equal length instead of spraying them apart differently as I'm doing right now. But hey, let's keep them together in this way. Boom! Happy birthday in a beautiful way. And so this is number 4, which is the ribbon one. And number 5 is double the fun. And double the fun, well, double the fun looks a little bit like the balloon one that we just created, except it's gonna be a little bit different. And so now I just need to remodel the set again. And to do that here, let me switch over to this side. I just need to remodel the set by, picking up the piece of paper and placing like a black backdrop onto my here canvas to work on, because that just it stands out a lot better. And so here we have camera number 2, and we're getting the card here. So actually this card I've already used for a Christmas card, a happy birthday card, and I'm reusing it for the double fun lettering card, which in fact actually looks something like this. So here you have the same Stabilo Boss markers that I've previously been using, and we're just gonna put on here's just some tape so that it sticks really well and that it doesn't move. And let's see, placing that nicely in the center, kind of like this, perfectly. And I don't want it to open, so I'm also gonna add some sticky measure things inside here, just so it doesn't open that much. Might be just because of the fold. All right. Oh, now it's just moving all up. The whole card is moving up. That's not what I want. Here we go. Okay, so back again, I'm gonna be using a nice light marker. For example, this one here. I feel like this one was the nicest out of them all. So what I'm gonna do is you can either draw down like straight lines. It's actually gonna be helpful for you. So this is where you're gonna draw in happy, and then here you're gonna have birthday, lower on, lower in. You can also make them just a little bit higher. Also not too bad. And so just erasing one of those lines. And if you want, usually start with a letter that's at the center in the middle. So for example, the P is always great to start here with a P. And I'm just doubling here the size, keeping that one down, and then drawing it out here. So now we're getting all the fun. So happy starts here, and then we have the A. So I like to use the whole long side of this chiseled pen. So trying to get all the sides here really well. That is helpful. And then doing the H. And as you can see, my hand is being held up a little bit weirdly because I do not want to smudge the rest of those letters. And so now I just want to make sure that the spacing is equally done. And those lines that I just drew before, those are helping me to keep like straight lines all over again. And just like that. The Y. Almost like this. So you have happy at the top. You can change it. Again, you can change all the colors. I'm going to keep those the same. Here I'm going to try to wing the size of those letters. Also, because of time constraints that I have, trying to get that all correct inside, going to be helpful. So I started to go smaller and smaller, which is a little bit sad. So these other two I can actually increase in size here. Not too much problem. And then finally here, the A. And so now you might be wondering why this one is called Double the Fun or Double Fun. Or the double fun, as I mentioned or called it, is because we're actually drawing twice happy birthday on it. So we have here happy birthday once. So that one is light, it's nice, it's cool. And what we're going to do now is we're going to pick up a brush, and then here, that's kind of like where you would take that up. So in the middle, right at the center here, you would draw the H on the H, so in a script style, the A over the A, the P over the P. And so it's kind of like creating a longer form letter, which is really fun. And then doing the same thing here with the Now the question is, why would you do that? I don't know. People seem to like it. I find it looks actually not too bad. And again, you kind of have something special. You can always decorate it a little bit more, adding some more touches to it, finding like a color you like. It could be just something bright, something that would stand out. What could you do? You could also, again, add just some touches here and there. I don't know. Floral petals, anything you feel like that would look cool. Doesn't have to be those dots, but just leaving it there would be totally fine. And you would have like a cool little bit graphic card that you could use and do. So that was double the fun. And we're already halfway through. So now comes the two style method. And the two style method is actually a little bit fun because, well, you're using two different styles of lettering. And for that, what I'm going to be doing actually is I'm going to be explaining that to you on the whiteboard. Now, how do you explain that on the whiteboard? Well, one is I got so many things. I prepared everything in advance, but I didn't prepare the scenery changes. So right now we're moving out and boom, making space, cleaning the surface, and just making everything ready to be drawn on. So let's move on to option number 2. Again, the two style method. And the two style method works like this. So first off, my sketch, really quickly, is having happy birthday, like simple. But then here, we're gonna have the birthday in these lines in here. So we're drawing out the B in a beautiful style here. Like you can really map that out. And then going up here, just getting the R, the T will have this cross. It will kind of mix in through with the rest of the letters. Then you have the A, the Y, and the Y will kind of close off and make that bow. And now suddenly you have all this space in between. So you want to make sure that you use all of that. And to do that, well, we can just finish it off with 2 and then adding the U somewhere in between here. So kind of like placing that inside. So that's what we're going to do. And let's move that up. So first off, what you will do is you will create those lines. So one I have here is I'm going to create those straight line as good as I can. We'll start to plan out all of the letters. So right, that's the center. So here are my letters. And now I can move that in, out a little bit here as well. So that's where my letters will go in. Now, a little bit lower than that, kind of like the same spacing that we have here. This is where my top of the line of the birthday will come in, more or less. Then we'll have a slanted line, or just like a curved line going up here. And everything here will be slanted. So the birthday will kind of keep this slant inside. So that's preparation that you need to do in order to get that through. Then we have this middle line that will cross down. And finally here, this is where you're going to add the U and the 2 and so on. So that's kind of how we start this off, by setting up the stage, by really placing and mapping out all of these controls and making sure that all of that looks right. So here I will start off by placing in the H. And so here I can really start by drawing it out. Then the A that will come in. The P. And so it's called this two style because it essentially uses two styles of like font family. So one is the sans serif. You could also use a serif up here. You can use any tools, again, that you like at your disposal. You can map it out. You can draw it on a huge surface, small surface, whatever you feel like doing. Like, go for that. Go for gold. Do something really special. So we have happy first. And you could fill this all out. Again, make sure that the thickness of all the letters here is pretty equal. The Y here seems a little bit thicker. Then we have birthday. So I'll start off here by drawing in this long line, and then over the top I'm going in and I'm going to draw in here huge way. Here I can even change the style a tiny bit. So again, play around with those things. going in with the R, not too high up. But this line here helps me to see where the X height is. So here's where I get the T to come in. And then where the T will also come out here towards the H. So that one is a little bit more complicated, but absolutely doable. And then finally the Y of the letter. So right now I feel like I need to get a little bit smaller here, but not necessarily too small. Just like that. And so we have here the birthday, so I might just make that a little bit shorter. Here have the I dot, never like to miss that one. And then here we actually might just do that a little bit smaller, so I like to start off with the O of to you, and then here with the Y, the U, and then here to. And of course, you can always finish it off with by adding just some splashes around here. Splashes here and here as well as here. So that kind of like you fill out the whole space, which looks really cool. Again, at the end, just whatever you feel like adding to it, that will create like really cool effect on your cards. So you can use different colors, fill it all out with colors, but that's how you construct this two-styled lettering word that you can use in a really cool way. So let's see, have a look at our place where we are right now. So this was number 6, so the two-styled lettering or the two styles letter piece. Next up we have the circle. The circle is also a very fun one, and how I like to do it usually is also using a black card. So I'm going to use a black card again. So on this one, then what I also often use is like using tools at your disposal. For example, here I have two different type of cups. One large one. This one will be the circle that I need on the inside. So that's what I'm going to draw first. I'm going to use a pencil, just making sure it's almost at the center of the picture, and then or the frame. Then I'm going to be drawing out these outlines here, and then just making sure that I get it all, which is perfect. And now I need an inline, so a smaller line inside, which I like to do then here with a different cup. So kind of like this one there. And so this one actually works a little bit different, because what we're going to do here, and so now you probably don't see those lines really all too well, but what we've just done is that we are creating two lines. So we're creating here these two lines. We're not really using the outside here. We're just using the inside. Going to draw happy like this, and then birthday down here. And so the lower part will take up a lot more space. And then here inside, you can draw the number that you want. So for example, happy 25th birthday. So that's kind of like what we want to achieve. So now that I have that, you can also sketch in the letters inside, just so you're set. You can just use boxes. so you don't have to draw out all the letters right away. But one good way to do that actually is always to draw out like these lines pretty well. And then birthday has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 letters. As always, still hasn't changed that much since the last time we draw happy birthday. So it needs a little bit more space here. And I actually might do the letters a little bit smaller just to get it all in and all well. Now you can use any color you like. This time I'm going to be using gold. And so I'm going to start off here by actually drawing out the H, A, P, another P, and you can see like my P doesn't look that great anymore, and also kind of start off too far on the left side here, which is also fine. But we're coloring in all of these letters, so that's why, as long as the outlines are fine, you can fill it out however you like without really damaging anything. So I feel like this pen here has dried out maybe just a tiny little bit. And I'm also out. Oh, no, there might be just one more gold pen that I can use. Oh, this one. There's such a big difference between a brand new pen and an older one. Makes a huge difference. So here we go, drawing in happy, doing a circular shape styled piece. And as always, you can always come up with new creative ways. So oops, I think I did something wrong here. I did something very wrong. Now we gotta keep on going with that mistake, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we'll make it work. So the outline would have been here, and I drew inside the line. This one is a little bit on the outline. So that's kind of my mistake. And that's why it might not look as pretty, but again, you can always redo it. So here we have happy birthday. And now inside here, this is where you can get a little bit more creative. So I love these type of letters, styles. So it's kind of like a fancy one. And I can see that my pens aren't as fresh anymore as they should be. So it will look a little bit more sketched out than anything else. And now another thing here, I can drop it lower. And then here you can add the 25th. And so here you go. You have a happy 25th birthday card, which is the circle method that we just shown here to you. And so that is number 7, the circle one. And up next, we have the festive one, which is also going to be featured here on the card, on the black card. So the festive one, again, is a little bit by using some decoration elements. So what we're going to do inside the card is, so if this is your card, actually, let me just draw that up for you. If this is your card, we are going to put like a just I don't know what they're called here, but place in those triangles here. You'll place all these letters, and then you can place the birthday inside here. So create nice little lines like that, like double lines. Whoops, just double lines, not. There we go. Birth. And then like playful with the sizes as well, because again, it's a festive one. Doesn't have to be all that rigid. You want to keep them fun, like happy birthday. And then inside here, drawing side, happy. You can also just like mount it up to a countertop or something around here. Add some like green leaves. You can also just add some decorative elements around, so like some leaves, flowers, whatever you want. Clouds. You can create like a whole scene around that and make that festive. Like add like a party hat down here. That would be cool. Like a sunshine, something down here, light bulb. I don't know. Be creative with this one. This one, again, you can really go all out by creating something simple. Just put that up here, draw that inside. Use the style that we just used here, just by using like the thick and thins, spacing them out differently, drawing them in different sizes. That actually works really, really well. All right, let's jump into the next one. I'm running out of cards here, and I just need to make sure that we are using them all up. So the next one is the script one. So the script one is basically based all on script style, but also has a lot of ligatures. So ligatures are these parts that really flow out, and you can use them really well. So to do that, one thing that I am using, and it's going to be 2 lines. So one is going to be a line up here. Put these all on the slanted style, and I need to make sure that I have enough space, so I'll put them up a little bit higher. And down here, maybe I just need to put the whole thing a little bit higher. All right, this is the center. So here and here, those are my guidelines that I'll use. And then you'll definitely use a slant. So meaning a slant is something that will help you guide your letters and everything else, so that your letters will always keep the same slant as you go. So when you start off, one thing that you want to do is, again, know kind of like where your center is, but here, this is where my H will probably start, and then go in here with the second one. And so script style, keeping kind of like these distances the same around here. And so what I meant by ligatures is by creating these elements that will flow around. So for example, this here will flow around here and flow around here, kind of like embellishing the whole thing. Now, the same thing will happen here with the birthday. And so right now I realize that it's just too big. So I'm just gonna wipe that off again. So that's kind of like the difficulty on doing it a little bit on a whiteboard and illustrating that, or trying to illustrate that well on camera. That is too low. Hey, it will work sometime. So here, 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 and here. So a little bit smaller, everything. And now I'm just gonna use here the lines that I started with. So the H, the A, the P, and I'm always aware that I'm not drawing these lines down too low, because one thing that could happen is that it would impact the other word, and so I don't want that to happen just yet. And so here is how I want that to go. So that's kind of like creating the lines for the embellishment here as well. And so here I could create like the H to go around, And what I want here is the B to create the other embellishment sides. And so I'm just lightly getting my way closer to all of these lines. Just like that. And so once you kind of like get closer to that, you try to see like, all right, what about this H? So this H here could actually create something fun, like more embellished. Here, this B could also be more embellished. And this H here just needs that crossbar so you can recognize it as an H. And then finally here, the H needs to come along and so on. And so once you've done that, so you kind of start to create these embellishments and you build them out more and more. And so now in this case, I would actually go in and start to really draw them out. And now I know that I will probably erase a lot of those lines here at the bottom, but I just need to focus right now on these few lines to get them right. And start coloring them all in. And usually for that, one great way to use like any form would be to use a brush, like brush pen. Those are great for this type of work. But since I'm out of white cards, as I've just realized now, I'm doing this here on the whiteboard. And so now I'm using my hand here on the other side to help myself. So not always everything goes according to plan, but you can always plan better. And so learning as you go and trying to do the best with what you have. It's always finding like creative solutions. And of course, filling out anything on a whiteboard is not necessarily the thing you want to be doing, but it actually works quite well. So I'm surprised. You could also make the Y here. So this is something that I just realized here, is I could change here the Y to come out here even more. And so while you're drawing, like don't let your creativity stop from your sketch, like be creative, like see those opportunities like this one here. Like why not have that go out and move around? And so you could change the whole, like this would look probably weird from an H to come out that way. So we're gonna erase that. I'm gonna keep this one short because here I want to place the D in between the stem here of this D. And so still you could kind of move that out and then create like so if this is a little bit too complex for you, please check out the first ones because the last one, the 3D one, that one is actually going to be the most challenging of them all. But not impossible. So here we go. And drawing in all of these here. Kind of looks like a sketch to me though. And not necessarily like a final card. I will, here, this will only be up on YouTube for just a short amount of time because we are going to take it down. We're going to cut out a short version of this video here. So I'm just doing this to be able to push myself to create content. So if you're watching this, you are one of the few who will get to see this live stream, because the live version of that video here will be taken down shortly after, so that we can then upload a whole video and create a whole video. All right, so this here and so the hard part about this piece here is definitely this ligature here at the end, around those letters and all of that. And I'm still practicing those myself, trying to get better and learning how to do that even so. Just like that. And then here you can add some little decorative elements. Always try to think of this whole thing as a shape. So that's why you kind of like see those lines kind of like continuing. So in those elements here, that's where you want to add those shapes in between. So something like this here, this is more of a whole style, and I probably need to rework on that, get a card, get it done. But so far, that's what we got for lettering number 9, the script one. And now we're moving on to the last one, the 3D one. And here I'm just gonna clean up quickly. And for the last one, the 3D one, I love this style because this one is very special. It's a fun one to do, so why don't always bring a card when you can also bring another piece? So I am taking here a special version, and that is a cardboard. So what I love to do is also bring a cardboard. So I have a piece here that I found somewhere in one of the pieces that I created or that I ordered online. So whenever you order something online, you can just cut out a piece of cardboard there. Don't throw it away right away, but just keep it in a way that you can. And so here we go. So one thing you'll do, again, use those 2 lines, and I'm just gonna go straight in and actually start to color that in like that. I've already prepared a sketched version down here. And so for everyone who join my 3D bootcamp, they will know exactly how to do this style because I taught them how to do it, how to create something like that. And you will be able to copy this one here. But if you want to learn the principles, you definitely should check out my online courses. Sign up for the waiting list for another 3D bootcamp that will probably come out later, or I'm not sure if this year we'll still have another 3D bootcamp. But we will have a Procreate bootcamp. So if you want to create birthday cards on your iPad, send them out digitally, like save up your work, like don't necessarily need to create like one design after the other, then Procreate is the way to go. But for greeting cards, totally think that sending something handmade is the way to go. Unless you're using one of those magic postcards. Actually, I did a post about it today, where you can use special tools. So here we go, just drawing out the happy. And I know there's something in the middle here of this piece, which is totally fine. I don't have a problem with that. Hope you don't either. So here, and then we're just adding the birthday. Now, of course, I cannot wait to see all of your creations because I hope that you will create a postcard, a birthday card from this video, and that you will have created a couple of beautiful birthday cards for your friends that you can show off to me, to anyone, and especially to your friends who deserve a beautiful postcard from you. I'm not sure if they deserve it. I don't think anyone deserves it, but you definitely will make it stand out. So why not be the king of the party and really shine and make an impression, a lasting impression? I think anyone who creates a postcard will create a lasting impression on their friends. So here we go. Mixing two styles again. Two styles is always a great idea to mix. You can always then mix them together. So you're probably wondering right now, like, hey, this doesn't look anything like 3D, and that's because we're getting to it. And we're adding the 3D soon in just a moment. But first, let me finish the day here. A of day. And then adding one more to the bunch or to the punch. Like that. And then I'll just finish here this cross. Like that. And then when we have that here, we'll be ready to draw in the 3D parts. So I hope you guys are ready to do the 3D. Just making sure we have those final touches. Yes. Now the 3D happens by actually just drawing out here some lines, making sure that we have them all in the same direction. Like that. Getting it all done. And now I can do a parallel line to those lines in here. So that creates this look. And just making sure they're all equally spaced. Because in between those lines, that's where I'm going to be drawing in. So in between here, you probably won't see anything. Nor here. And so this is a very special card. If you create that one, you'll definitely be impressing your friends. Also, because it's a different texture that you can really create and make. And so that already is impressive of itself. And so here, probably got almost everything. Just here, that little spot that I shouldn't forget. And I think we're good to go. So right now I'm just creating a little splash pattern on the background because I love this. Makes it also very special. For anyone who likes chocolate, this could be really cool. I don't know what chocolate comes to mind when I do this, but here you go. You got that filled out. So you use your second color. So you have the white, and now you can add the second one. You can also just go in with black. Works well too. Black would make a lot more sense if you thought of chocolate. But I'm just filling this out here. And now I can just follow those lines and then put them all back together. And what you just did with the 3D is it will stand out because the 3D will be left blank. And so the coloring, like right here, you can see now with the H, that's where it stands in, where it's left blank. And so it stands out a lot nicer. And as you can tell, that takes some time to fill in. And you should take your time. Not necessarily like I'm doing, like I'm speeding through, rushing through the whole process. Like this is your friend's birthday card. Like think about what you'll write them, like write them something nice inside the card. Like what are the type of things you usually would write inside of a card for someone's birthday? Let me know in the comments what you would write, if you'd write them something. If not, let me know. But yeah, birthday cards are special. You should take care of them and draw something beautiful. See a lot of small little gaps to be filled out. And that's how the whole piece will really start to take shape, just because you're filling it all in with really cool colors, making this a special, very special card. And I just really love how the effects, well, the effect comes to life in this piece here. And so maybe you don't have those colors at home, but you can use anything else as well. It doesn't have to be all of these brushes that I'm using right now. Like I'm using acrylic markers to draw that all in. But again, you can use anything else as well. So don't feel like you have to use or get those brushes somewhere. All right, almost done. Just got here a little bit to fill out. Just like that. You can add some little dots here. Those often sell it really well too. Boom, boom, and bop. Got it down here, and then finally, maybe if you want to, like some stars, some white sparks here and there. Always nice. And there we go. Happy birthday, kind of like a cool surfer style look. You can always improve that upon, but this is really cool style that you can create. So as you can see, we went through a fast 10 different styles of lettering that you could create. 10 different cards that you could create for your loved ones. So we started out with a simple one where we just added some lines. Let me try to see if I can get them all again. So here we have the simple one. Very interesting with the confetti. Then we had the bouncy one with the bouncy letters, bouncy brush calligraphy. Up next, we had the balloon one. So let me see where the balloon one was. Here we go, inside this card. So we had the balloon one with the outlines, kind of like making it pop, all the colors that comes out. Then we had the ribbon one. Here, happy birthday. Up, followed next by the double fun, which was here this happy birthday on 2 lines, then written twice happy on it. The 2 styles, which was done on the lettering board itself. The circle one, which is drawn on, here we go, happy birthday, happy 25th birthday, also a really cool card. And then finally the script style, and also this here, the final one, the happy birthday onto the cardboard, which I created there on the spot. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you learned a lot. So what would definitely help me is if you put a thumbs up to this video, but don't worry because it's going to be probably taken down very soon anyway. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye bye, guys.